So I decided recently it was time for a change, and I decided to get a pen that wasn't really a pen. And to be honest, I think I'd win a boxing match against them. Hey everyone, it's Stephen here. So in this video I'm going to show you exactly the tricks that I've added into my working set since the kind of lockdown experience, and also talk you through the entire creative process. So if that sounds interesting, just keep watching. Okay, so the first trick that I wanted to add in was something with a Rubiks Cube. Now I have done various Rubiks Cube routines on stage, but I wanted to incorporate something that I do on stage into my close-up set. So I was looking at various different Rubiks Cube tricks on the market. A couple, for example, were cube cards from Kev G, and also Venom Cube. Now I decided not to do cube cards because I already do that in my stage act, and I like the presentation that I've got, so I wasn't going to do that close-up because I'd need to make a lot of different changes for that to work in the close-up environment. So the other trick that I was looking at was Venom Cube. Now Venom Cube's fantastic, I absolutely love it. However, I didn't want to carry two cubes, so I decided that I would try and work on a one cube routine. So what I arrived at was a 4-phase Rubiks Cube routine that has a instant solve, a more visual solve, also incorporates the gear solve, and also at the end there is a little bit of mentalism. So the Rubiks Cube that I will be using is this one. This is the exact same one that comes with Cube 3 from Stephen Brundage. And in my routine I will have a instant solve, and also I will have a more visual solve, and also the gear solve. So at the end of the routine I do need someone to select a colour. So I looked at various ways that we could do this. Everything from classic card methods, and then even a psychological method. And one thing that I did really look at was this. This is a Rubik's Rod from Anti-Clockwise. Now Rubik's Rod is a fantastic, basically hot rod style routine. However, I was going to use this to try and get the colour. But the problem was I wanted to try and just travel with one Rubik's Cube, and that was it. So I decided to get rid of that and go for a more traditional card method, where various colours are written down on business cards. The reason I decided on this is it gets my name out there, so I can bring a business card into play, and also it makes a bit more sense than having another Rubik's Cube prop. So the last problem that I had with this routine was I had the method, I had the routine, I had the trick. The last thing was the transport. The way I was going to carry this on me at the gigs was I was going to use this. This is the JOL Cube holder, and what you'll see is it also holds my business cards. So this is exactly what I'm going to use. It's going to be attached onto my belt at the back, and it's pretty easy to gain access. So this doesn't take up much space. It is a good 3, 4, 5 minute routine, and a lot of audience interaction, and people can relate to a Rubik's Cube because everybody's been frustrated with trying to solve one. So that is the first thing that I'm going to add in. It is going to be a 4-phase Rubik's Cube routine. So the second trick we're going to add in is the ninja rings. Alright, so I have been a massive fan of the ninja rings. The very first time I ever saw it, I saw Matthew Garrett do it at the Blackpool Magic Convention in 2010. So in 2010 when I saw Matthew Garrett do it, I actually bought his set. So I got the traditional 4-ring routine and also the Ninja Plus set. This is something that I've always wanted to add into my working set. I've just never really found a space for it. I've had a lot of problems with the routine and things like how I'm going to transport it, and also people wanting to inspect the rings, etc. So it was always going to be difficult for me to incorporate this into my act. So during lockdown I spent a lot of time just playing around. I came up with a really nice routine, but there was one thing that really annoyed me about the routine that I had came up with. And that one thing that had really annoyed me was the opportunity to hand out the rings and get the audience involved a little bit more. So basically during lockdown, luck just happened to be on my side, and Matthew Garrett had decided to bring out a thing called the GIR, Garrett's Impossible Ring. So the GIR from Matthew Garrett had solved every problem that I had. It allowed me to take the gimmick out of play and visibly link the two rings together. So that solved it. That was me. I was ready, I was happy, and I just worked on it for a couple of weeks. However, there was a big problem. During lockdown, there was also another product called the Milero Rings. It was released. This is a trick from Vanishing Ink. Now, I saw the trailer for this and I was fooled. I had no idea how it worked. And then I decided to, when it arrived, to play with it. I came up with this beautiful, beautiful routine. So I'm going to have a big ego here. I'm going to say that the routine that I was performing was beautiful, lovely, very visual. Like the ideal, like if you could create a link and ring routine, this is how it would have looked. However, it was not very practical. So I decided to get rid of the Milero rings and go back to what I had originally been working on, and that was the link and rings. Also, what I'm going to do is I'm going to always have the ring from the Ninja Rings on my possession, and then that way, if I get called back to a group, I can link a ring on, then I can borrow a ring, link it on and take it off. I do think the GIR is probably one of my favourite things about the Lincoln Rings. It's an absolutely phenomenal product, and I do recommend that you check it out if you are into the Lincoln Rings. So yeah, that is the second thing I'm going to add in, and that is the Ninja Rings. Alright, so the third trick that I'm going to add into my working set is Charming Chinese Challenge by Troy Hooser. Alright, so this is a trick that I have a lot of history with, and let me explain. About 10 years ago, I purchased this DVD here, which is Troy Hooser's Charming Chinese Challenge. I'd seen a video of a guy do it online, and I thought that's really cool, and I wanted to learn how it worked, so I purchased the DVD. I really, really liked the routine. It was quite simple and very direct and made a lot of sense. In 2016, I decided to enter the Scottish Association of Magical Societies close-up competition. In that act, I performed two tricks. One was Charming Chinese Challenge and the other was a card effect. So I performed the Charming Chinese Challenge at a couple of gigs in the lead up to the competition. That way it just helped me refine any little touches that I needed to add in. Also allowed me to work on my audience management and make sure that I was able to do it under pressure. So I had worked on the routine and I decided to perform it at the Scottish Association of Magical Societies convention. That year I came fourth, so obviously I wasn't good enough for that and I was kind of disheartened, so I stopped doing the trick because I thought maybe it's not a great trick. And then, based on a recommendation from a friend, I decided to purchase this book, which is The Destroyers from Troy Hooser. Now I was reading through it and I was like, oh wait, that's the trick that I used to do. That's the Charming Chinese Challenge. And then I decided, hold on, there's actually a lot more in here than what was on the DVD. So I played about with it again. So I played about with it for a couple of weeks and then put it to the side. However, a few months later I was speaking to a couple of friends of mine from America, and one of them mentioned a guy called Lance Pierce. So me and my friend, we were talking about Lance Pierce and he went, he's got this amazing routine using the Charming Chinese Challenge. I was like, oh, I like that trick. And then he sent me a video of Lance Pierce doing the Charming Chinese Challenge. There was one phase in it that completely fooled me. So then I was like, where can you buy that? He went, Dan and Dave sell it. So I went on Dan and Dave's website and paid international shipping to have Recharmed, I'm sure, from Lance Pierce to be shipped over to the UK. So I got the Recharmed, I'm sure, and I started working on it. And I really, really enjoyed it. Now at the time I was using really, really cheap kind of, they were like washers, but they were stamped with Chinese writing and they were painted, so they were starting to chip. They weren't that great, they weren't that nice. And then when Recharmed, I'm sure, arrived, they came with these beautiful, beautiful Chinese coins. Also, another problem I had was the ribbon. I went through a lot of ribbon because it would get dirty, it would kind of rip at some points as well, it would fray. But included in Recharmed, I'm sure, was this. This is like a silk coated kind of cord, and it makes a lot of the moves a little bit easier. So I thought, I'm going to do that. So I put that away again for about a year. I never touched it. And then lockdown happened. I tidied out my whole office, my room, and I came across the props for Recharmed, I'm sure. So that is still a work in progress at the moment. A couple of things I've got to work out is just audience participation and where people can hold on to the coins, etc. But I'll take that out. and I'll get that refined. So once I've done that, I will let you know how I get on, so keep a wee eye out on the video. So yeah, that is the third trick I'm going to add in, and that is Recharmed, I'm sure, / Charming Chinese Challenge from Lance Pierce and Troy Hooper. Alright, so there we have it. That is the 3 things that I've worked on over the past year. So I hope this has gave you a great insight into how I develop routines and my creative process and where I get inspiration, etc. from. If you have enjoyed the video, remember to give me a wee thumbs up, click the subscribe button and switch the notification bell on. I will be back very, very soon with another video, so remember, thumbs up, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you very, very soon.